Get into this little letter I sent to my kids' school. You know, it's not only our job as parents to protect our kids physically, we also got to protect them emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, right? So I sent this letter right at the tail end of Black History Month when they were learning slavery. And I'm going to blank all the names out, the name of the school, myself, and my kids. But I'm going to read the letter. And if you want this letter, I'm going to drop my email in the description link and you can ask for a copy of this letter. Dear blank school, I blank am requesting that blank and blank be removed from all lessons involving slavery. The curriculum does not align with how I learned slavery, my personal beliefs, nor my religion. When reviewing materials with blank and blank, they express a very narrow understanding of slavery. Although students are learning American history, there needs to be a disclaimer that Asians, whites, and Hispanics have been slaves throughout history. The way that my children are interpreting slavery is detrimental to the psyche of children in general. Moreover, it is mentally damaging to start the history of Black students in relation to slavery. This request is permanent. In closing, I am more than satisfied with the efforts of faculty/staff, and I appreciate you all. Please contact me if there's any further arrangements or concerns. So obviously, this letter was in relation to slavery. As soon as my kids learned slavery and Black History Month, then first and second grade, I had this issue with the other one last year, and this year when it came to me, I just said an end to it. So I wrote that letter. I want them removed from all slavery courses because what it does, as soon as they came home, they were asking me, "How come white people owned us? How come they beat us?" You know what I'm saying? And that implants an inferiority complex in a lot of Black people that we might not even catch. Because this is where slavery at now. It used to be physical, but you got to be careful. And the school had no problem with me saying this, and they say they would just omit the grades. And one Black teacher was like, "Mm-hmm." But it's like, if you know why you don't say nothing. You 7 years old, and the first thing you learn about Black history, people owned us, they beat us. That's my ancestry. That's where we started.
And you only learn about maybe what, five or six people in that time period, like when it was like hundreds of them doing important stuff. You feel me?
And it,
Trying to
it
get people out of slavery. It's like,
it's crazy, and it was so much history before that. But that's why it's up to parents in certain areas. We got to catch this, and we got to do our own research and teach our own kids because, like I said, whites, Hispanics, Asians, all people have been slaves. All people have owned slaves. But when you make it seem like an exclusively Black thing, I believe that's not only detrimental to the psyche of Black kids, it's detrimental to the psyche of all kids.
yeah,
Because even the same month, one of my kids said, "Oh, a white kid said I was stupid, blah blah blah," and she felt this way towards white people, white kids, and it's like the school. It's another social programming, just along with some of those kids' parents that might not like Black people, is programming, and it's not positive for it's counterproductive because it puts us in a low status. We should never start off Black History Month or teaching Black kids about their history with slavery. We should never.
yeah. I mean, and I don't know what school it was or what state it was in, but it was predominantly white. They took that out. They took out Black history. I'm saying, like, they didn't even want the kids to learn about Black history. They're white kids.
We need in the public schools, it got to be Black people painting their own history because when the oppressors, when the elites painting our picture, I'm telling you, it does something to the psyche. I had a good rapport with that school, but I'm like, I can't let y'all teach my kids certain things regardless of how y'all feel.
And sometimes, though, too, it's not really necessarily the school. It's just the curriculum through the school board. You get what I'm saying? That's what needs to be changed. And their curriculum, since we've been going to schools from when we were young, is the same thing. the first thing you learn in Black history is about Harriet Tubman and certain slave people who were enslaved, pretty much, instead of learning about people who weren't slaves that
Mm-hmm.
actually did great things. There are people now doing great things, which are being brought. It is being brought to light, but like for the majority, like what you just said with your letter, that's primarily what they first learned about Black history is that yeah, we were slaves. And our
And
history, honestly, our history goes deeper than that. They need to dig deep, just like they can dig deep about where the fuck George Washington and all them motherfuckers came from. They can go back to Africa, bruh, and dig deep and see the kings and queens from that country, yo. So it can instill something in the young Black kids. You feel what I'm saying? Instead of them just thinking, like you said, damn, my great ancestors were just beaten and all that. They wasn't nothing great. But I hear about all these white presidents and this and that and all these white people inventing shit when a
even
lot of that shit is stolen too.
even the first white dude that landed on Plymouth Rock, right, or whatever, they can go back in his history and they know where he was from, but you paint us like that. And I do believe the curriculum restricts teachers because you got to be creative within the curriculum. You
Yeah,
But if we need more people speaking out, if y'all know y'all history, y'all know this information, and that's key. You said school board. I do plan to present this letter to the school board, and that's what this change and transformation in our community looks like. It's not some grand speaker or some great looking, articulate, suave. It's everyday people like me getting up, putting forth the extra effort, watching over your kids, being vigilant of what goes into their mind, and these seeds that get sown in their mind early on, and speak.
yeah. A lot of parents ain't paying attention to that shit, and if they did, I'm pretty sure you'll have a line behind you when you go to the school board
Mm.
about this shit because it's an issue, yo, and it should be across all school in the nation, not just in a certain area and shit, yo. Let's learn the true history of Black people, not just slavery. I mean, we shouldn't forget about slavery. You feel me? It does play a part in our history. It's not a great part, but it does play a huge part in our history, especially with America. But we can go deeper than that, man. Just like I said, we talk about where George Washington and all these motherfuckers came from. Let's
Mm.
talk about where some of these great African people came from, regardless of even Africans. Let's talk about the Indians as well, yo, because some of us are Indians, just Black Negro Indians.
Even with some of our ancestors that broke free from slavery and did great things, you still learn their life in relation to
Yeah,
slavery.
exactly.
Like you say, okay, you don't want to take slavery away, but it's like it's in relation to that. And where is all the history about these other groups being slaves?
Yeah,
Look at my video, kids learning slavery, all races were slaves. When I break down years, dates, white people were slaves to different groups. Some North Africans had them as slaves. Asians have been slaves. Different people have been slaves to their own people. So this is not just a Black thing.
no,
Yes,
it's
we're gonna respect what our ancestors did, but don't put us in that box. We not subservient to nobody, and it's a new day and age, and we're
I
gonna talk.
mean, this is a that is a human thing. Everyone was enslaved. Black people enslaved black people, white people enslaved white people, Asians enslaved Asians. You get what I'm saying? Like it's a common thing. So it shouldn't just be directed towards just us and prominent in our history. Whereas it's prominent in every goddamn culture.
I mean, you already know the agenda behind all of this. It's just to keep us infuriated, stressed out, in a subservient position mentally. And it's like we got to do our own research. We got to start listening to our own people. And one day we can connect with everybody and end race. Because just like race started, is not throughout most of human history. There wasn't a concept called race throughout most of human history, written history. You can't find it past about 400 years ago. You can't find race 400 or 500 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't race. It's more so culture back then.
It was culture, it was nationality in a sort of region where you live, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they identified you, region.
Hmm.
It's a sort of new concept, but it is social, it is real, but we can undo it. But until then, Parents, I'm telling you, even white parents, y'all need to be vigilant. Y'all need to be down for this. Teach your own kids. If they can't change the curriculum, do your research, learn your history, look at my video. All races were slaves, and I'll give you some dates. But this is ridiculous. We can't let our kids go out like this. And I lied a little bit on the letter because I did learn it the way my kids learned it, but through further information and some college and self education, I learned otherwise. I'm like, oh damn, these people are like, and we just got to spread awareness to raise our levels of consciousness and do away with the ignorance, because that's where a lot of hate and racism coming from. It's pure ignorance, and we
Yeah,
pass.
yeah, it is, and it follows the generations. That ignorance just follows because no one's trying to tell your children the truth.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta follow what your grandparents told you and all that and shit. Good when you know good and well that shit was wrong. You know what I
right,
mean? Tell your kids the right shit. Let them know the truth about the real history of everyone, yo,
right.
and including themselves, because it might not just be whitewashed, like just plain. For even for like I'm saying, a white person, their history might go back deeper. Their
Hmm.
culture might be real. You know what I'm saying? It might go back further than what they even thought. So I mean, should respect it all, dog.
Right. This is where the change starts, is that everyday engagement, the tedious activities, what you don't feel like doing, is contacting the school boards, contacting the courts, the police department, making noise, making them do some extra work and reevaluate themselves. Hey, look, man, we bringing this real knowledge. Appreciate you, movie. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, share. We on to some big stuff. We making moves. Appreciate you all. Like I said, appreciate you coming through and spreading the knowledge again, my boy. You have a good one.
You too, bro.
All right, everybody keep elevating, man. Appreciate you.